I remember when a car crash made a sandwich of my mother. Wedged between seat and metal, gas and blood like mustard and mayo, fingers laid out like fries on the grill of our dashboard. I couldn't stomach the sight of her. It was the day my hope met hardship and headed headfirst into a house fire to live hatefully ever after. Where is God in my broken home?
Have you ever lived in darkness so long it takes blindness to cure you? I have. I spent countless years lying to myself, hiding behind the mask of Christianity because I, more than most, knows just how faithful the role of the mask is a hypocrite. Sunday mornings wearing worship proud, and throughout the week approved the death of potential Christians with my witness. Then one day grace came and kidnapped my sight, blindfolded me from every lie I held on to until all I had left was the truth to keep me from stumbling. God saw who I could be because God sees all. He saw beyond who I was. God didn't see Saul. He was faithful when I wasn't. God didn't see Saul. How would I become seasoned if God didn't see salt introduced himself as the light? God had paused Saul, introduced himself as the Christ. God appalled Saul, changed my name and perspective. Yes, God had paused Saul, used blindness to make a lost sinner God's appalled Saul.
Okay, if that's true, then it sounds like God went through sign and wonder for his introduction, using miracles as bait to hook men like us to ministry. Now beat up and bruised, we're left hanging, and where's that light show here? Did God get us just to forget us?
Let us assume that he's breaking us beautifully, using moments of confusion to handicap the belief that we can walk well without him. We are not forgotten. The Lord is our witness, but soon he'll stand as judge. Be not weary in well-doing. We've both been bruised on the job, but eternal workers' comp shall come and never depart.
Yes, but I don't think you've been led on like I have, where sin takes sumo seats on your shoulders and victory flirts at you from far away, blowing the most beautiful kisses that you'll never taste, promising that you'll be together with her lying lips as she jukes away from your way each day that you get close.
God doesn't make us free from sin by making us free from him. We bleed to testify that we live to fight another day.
But how much blood can one lose before a corpse is made of
these scars? Only boast that there's a healer in your corner. I said these scars only boast that there's a healer in your coroner. Examine the autopsy of the struggle in your flesh. Is the toil not forensic evidence that something holy wrestles beneath your anatomy? A true soldier's win is bloody, for it doesn't exist away from the battlefield, but on it. See, victory isn't simply getting rid of what we're fighting with. Victory is truly recognizing who we're fighting with.
No hope. Are you sure that we're fighting with anything? I see no assistance while on the run in this wilderness.
Did God not anoint David to Israel's throne? Yet David spent years as fleeing vagabond, made his home under a roof of uncertainty, yet he trusted his carrier knowing the call wouldn't drop through the long distance to the promise.
But what about long distance from freedom? The thing marketed by my faith that I was promised by the perfect one. Why then is my situation a slave ship, taking me farther from freedom and into the beaches of bondage, breaking my back with the bend of its yoke on my body, turning me blue and docile into a prisoner of pain? Where is the life in my live, the ecstasy in my exist? Why am I weak for weeks in ministry and titled as tired with turmoil?
You ask why, but why not? Are the lives of martyrs less treasured than your own? Dead or living sacrifice, the same is required. Everything. 3 Hebrew boys stood as vulnerable as wood, willingly surrendered their freedom to flames fiending to feast on their flesh and even. If God didn't deliver their bodies to the heat set to master them, each would have gladly yielded themselves into ashes, honored to offer their last breath for the one who granted their first.
But what about the breaths in between? this life that we feel left alone in, that I've been abandoned by, that God has been an absent father from. I would give God everything if he would just show up. Staring at blank skies for so long, I feel like I prayed to a black hole, and I would gladly do this life sentence if any sign came that my hard labor was not in vain. Where is he? My mouth burns with burdens, but I would eat the sun to feel a light in my belly again. That thorn in your flesh gave you perseverance, but mine is infected, and this sickness coughs up contempt each day.
But we have a physician.
But what if I die?
And Jehovah's glory will unwrap itself from the carcass of your circumstance like Lazarus. And by the end of the day, the world will know that you serve a living God. Wait. Shh, wait. Do you hear that?
Hear what?
The dangling of our shackles joining an orchestra conducted by sovereignty. The restriction of these chains ensures we're locked into cadence, and unless he says move, we will be still and know that he is God. We'd rather play our parts out of tune than listen. More inclined to pitch our own notes, but here we will take them.
You and I are alone and encased in our struggles. You think you hear music in this prison?
I do not see a prison, but a concert hall. Can't you see how this cell mutes the unnecessary noise of this world, allowing us to hear the melody of his will so much more clearly? This solitary confinement is part of the song. It's been proven that the weight behind bars